Hi there YouTubers, it's your buddy Platt, and today I'm going to go over some homebrewing terminology. So let's go. In recent weeks I've done a series of videos introducing you to homebrewing kits and the world of homebrewing. Well, I want to take this video to kind of step back and review some terms I've used in previous videos and will use in future videos. Two of the terms that you'll most often hear in homebrewing are ales and lagers. All beers are split between one of the two categories. They're either ales or lagers. Ales are top fermenting beers and lagers are bottom fermenting beers. Ales tend to ferment at a warmer temperature while lagers ferment at a cooler temperature for a longer period of time. Well, now that we've talked about the two major categories of beers, let's start firing off these homebrewing terms. Wort is basically beer before it becomes beer. It's the sugary solution we brew up either using kits, all grain recipes, or extracts. It's what we put in the fermenter and then add our yeast to. The term aerate means to add oxygen to our solution, which we call a wort, and that helps with yeast growth. We can either do this by stirring, shaking, or even adding an oxygen stone like you see in aquariums. Trub is the layer of sediment that forms on the bottom of your fermenter. Generally it's made up of different proteins, dead yeast cells, and sometimes hops particles. The technical definition for the term adjunct is any fermentable ingredients that does not use enzymes to produce sugars. The layman's term is additional sugars like cane sugars, corn syrup, Belgian candy sugars that we add to beers that we don't have to prep before they turn into fermentable sugars. The term SRM stands for Standard Reference Method, and it's a scale that's used to determine the color of your beer. Your lighter beers like lagers are usually in the 2 to 4 range, all the way up to your dark imperial stouts, which hit around 70 on the SRM scale. The term all grain brewing means that we're brewing a beer with 100% crushed grains. We're not using any sugars or extracts or kits. It's basically cooking grain soup. The term sparging means to rinse the grains to get out additional sugars after mashing. If you remember our Brooklyn Beer Kit video, I used a large cooler to do the sparge. The term extract derives from a soluble substance that is produced by either using malted barley or adjuncts. It comes in two forms, either powdered or liquid, and the liquid's more of a consistency of molasses. Extract is used as a substitute for using crushed grains. Racking is the process of transferring liquids from one vessel to another. In homebrewing, that's generally done when either I'm pulling beer out of a fermenter into a bottling bucket, or if we're transferring our beer from the primary fermenter into a secondary fermenter. In homebrewing, the term gravity means the density of our solution compared to water. The way we'll use it is basically measure how much sugar is in our solution. Generally, we'll do a original gravity check after we first produce our wort, and then at the end of fermentation, we'll do a finishing gravity. The difference between those numbers helps us derive our alcohol percentage, and we see how thoroughly we fermented out the sugars. The term priming means to add sugar to beer prior to bottling or kegging. It's the sugar that we add that reacts with the leftover yeast that will create CO2 and this gives us carbonation. This device here is a hydrometer, and it is used to measure the gravity of our wort or beer. This particular one begins at 0.990 and measures as high as 1.170. Like I said, we use it when we first start brewing the beer, and we use it after we're finished with the beer. The term pitching means to add yeast to our wort and to begin primary fermentation. You'll also hear a term pitching rate, which basically means the amount of yeast we use compared to the amount of wort we produce. The term IBU stands for International Bittering Units. and it's a measure of the concentration of alpha acids in hops. And to put it in more layman's terms, basically a way to measure the bitterness in your beer. The higher the number, the more bitter your beer is. Well, I hope you found this information useful. And if you liked the video, please subscribe down below. In future videos, we'll brew a few more beers, learn a few more techniques. This home brewing is a continuing educational process. For those of you that have been wanting me to go back and do some other things, make some wine, some ciders, other things, we've got more coming. So if the beer's boring you a little bit, don't worry, things are going to change up. Well, until next time, bye-bye.